What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 99 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today, I welcomed a Florida MC. His name is Icon Living Sashy. He actually moved from Jamaica in 2018 to Florida, where he's currently based now. And he talks about, I think it was his cousin, he said, was actually kind of his inspiration for becoming a rapper after he kind of spit some bars in front of him, and his cousin basically encouraged him to pursue a career. So he's kind of been on the grind ever since then, doing his thing. We talked about his last album, Iconic Time, what the process was behind that. He also put in a great kind of story, maybe not even a story, but like a good example of the difference between writing songs and freestyling. And I'm not even going to try to explain it here. I think you'll just kind of listen to it in the episode and have him break it down, because it was really a cool perspective on the differences between the two and why he prefers usually to freestyle a lot of his songs. And it's very much based in the music. And I think just his approach to, you know, how he's putting things out there is very cool. Just taking his time with all of the music he makes. He wants to make sure that everything hits people the way it's supposed to, and that they don't just get, you know, a bunch of filler. He wants to have quality tracks and things that he's proud of. So I think that's something to be admired. And without further ado, hope you guys enjoy this episode. So let's get right into it. All right, welcome everyone to episode 99 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today I have a Florida-based rapper. He goes by the name of Icon Living Sashy. How are you, man?
Yes, sir. I'm in the building, just taking it easy, you know.
Yeah, like I said, man, I appreciate you for even reaching back out to me, because I totally must have overlooked our DM from a few months ago and everything, and I really apologize for that, but I'm glad to get you on here, man. And to start every episode off, we have the guests give a bit of, you know, background. How did you get into music? How long have you been doing it? Where your name came from? All that good stuff.
Well, I've been doing music for like 4 years now, and you know, I'm Florida based, so you know it's kind of hard down here to like be a rapper, because you know everybody is kind of like separated and people doing their own thing. So basically, you gotta build your own fan base and stuff like that, and get yourself out there, basically.
Yeah.
And you know, that's just a part of it. You know, but everybody go through that. As far as how I got into music, I would say I had a cousin by the name of Jay Shame. He's a rapper too. And one day I was just washing the dishes. This might sound funny as hell, but I was washing the dishes, but I was rapping at the same time. Like, literally just, I could cuss on here?
Yeah, man.
Literally just bullshit. And he was like, yo, you really gotta hop in the stew. And I'm like, yeah, for real? He like, yeah, bro, you really gotta hop in the stew. That same day, we went to the stew, and he was like, bruh, we gotta, this has to continue, bro. Cause, you know, I made a song, but it was like a reggae pop type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yo, you need to continue with this. I'm not even gonna lie, you are. And then, you know, I made a couple of tracks after that. It was completely trash. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it took me a good year and a half to like get settled in to music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically that's how I got into music.
Nice. So I think I read, I think it was probably on your Spotify, about you like moving to Jamaica in 2018, or from Jamaica in 2018 to Florida. So is that kind of like coinciding with the music thing? Like, did that lead to eventually you doing music as well, or what was that decision based
on? That decision was based on me just wanted to do bigger things, be around bigger people. As I said, expanding my branding and fan base and everything like that. So, you know, you can't be in one place trying to do everything and basically don't get me wrong, there's marketing for rappers in Jamaica, but it's not no real market. So it's either you gonna try to like expand or you just gonna stay and stifle.
Yeah.
So I decided to expand.
Yeah. I'm curious then, where did that name come from? Like, how did you land on that as your artist name? Because I saw it and I'm like, that's very unique. And I saw like the way that your Spotify is set up and your Apple Music is set up, and I'm like, that would catch my attention, just your name in general, before we even get to the music. So like, how did you land on that then?
Okay, so from a tender age, people were like, "Listen, bro, I was always that person, that fashionista type person. So people would be like, "Yo, bro, you an icon. I like how you put yourself together. You continue to like, have that splat on." So I just took that, and then obviously I'm not dead. I'm living. So, and my real name is Sashy. So I just, Icon Living Sashy. That's how it came about.
Yeah, I love it, man. Because from like the branding standpoint and everything, I think that's like perfect for the type of music you make and everything, and I think it fits the personality of the music as well. So I love that. So when you were like growing up and everything, I'm curious to know like who were you listening to? Maybe in Jamaica, was it more reggae? Was it more hip hop? Was it a little bit of both? Like what kind of artists were you really into coming up?
Honestly, I was more so into uh let me I'm gonna try to say this. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, but I was more so into Young Thug, of course. I looked up to him for more like fashion side of things. I like his music too. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like his voice is very melodic and put together, and you know what I'm saying. It's very unique, and I feel like who else? Rich Homie Quan, cause he's more of like a melodic artist, but he always had a message in a fun song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I kind of drift to Wiz Khalifa at the time, because at the time, it was We Them Boys, Black and Yellow, all that. Shout out to Wiz, by the way, and Rich Homie Quan and Young Thug. Shout out to all them guys. So those guys are who I was listening to. As who I'm listening to now, I would say I listen to a lot of Fabio Foreign and D Thing. I don't know if you know D Thing or if you know.
I know who Fabio is, but not the other one, I don't think.
Okay, so D Thing is more like a drill artist. So I listen to a lot of D Thing. I listen to a lot of B Love, K Flock, all them people. Shout out to them, by the way.
Were you like a Pop Smoke guy too then?
I would say Pop Smoke was always that guy, but I would say it's all about the energy for me. If we not matching in energy and style and what you got going on versus what I got going on, I don't care to listen to your music.
Yeah,
but don't get me wrong. I do listen to his music because it's impossible not to listen to pop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And it's interesting too, like even the artists you mentioned, like Young Thug, Rich Homie Quan, like that goes back to like the early 2010s, like right around when trap like started becoming a big thing, like on the radio and everything, and then it kind of evolved. And like drill, especially the last like 4 or 5 years, that's been a huge thing because that was more UK, like was where that was popular at, and then certain artists over here kind of started doing it in their own way and making it like a big thing, and just it's I know like it's always like heavily criticized by a lot of people. Like they don't like certain styles of like hip hop and how it's evolving, but it's like it kind of has to do that. You know what I mean? It kind of has to uh, deviate into different genres and touch different bases and different points to continue to grow as a genre. So I think it's just no matter like who the artists are or whatever, as long as they have, something they're bringing, if it's new and people enjoy it, that's all that matters. You know what I mean? I think for you, that's what you're trying to do too in your music. You know what I mean? With your fan base and everything, is just bring something new to the table. So
For me, I'm more of genre bending artist.
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say I belong to a genre. I wouldn't say, I would say I'm creating a new wave of artists and of artistry. Let me correct myself. And I would say I'm literally trying to get more genre bending artists to come forward in the game, because then everybody is stuck doing the one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're stuck doing that one thing, then it's like, man, when would I ever get something new to listen to? Everybody sound the same.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets boring real fast.
Yeah. 100%. And I think too that like we might even see an era where genres is kind of not even a thing anymore. You know what I mean? Because going back to pretty much since the beginning of music, they try to classify everything as it has to be a certain genre. Even you look at the Grammys, everything is classified very like specifically down to the very last detail of like what it's classified as or what category they would put it in. So I think now, especially the way people make music, it's a lot more accessible to make music with technology and everything. So it's like you can try different things. You can really be your own artist in your own genre. You know what I mean? There's not really those rules anymore. Even though people, still like older people still want to think that there are. It's like I think in our lifetime, eventually we're going to get to a point where no one's going to care about the genre. They just care about if it's good or if it's not. You know what I mean? Like the only real genre is good music at the end of the day. If it's good and people like it, that's what matters. You know what I mean? So
honestly, we are getting into this wave of just different things. You gotta understand, a whole head is always gonna be an old head.
mm-hmm.
No matter what word, the word genre is always gonna be around.
Mm-hmm.
But the meaning of genre is not gonna be the same because of us, as in me. Because you know what I'm saying? Because Wiz Khalifa already came and did what he did. Young Thug already came and did what he did. Honestly, we don't even have a genre for Young Thug.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah.
Because what he does is really, 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 I would say, so different. And it's time to the point where people started to like attach his stuff to a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with his artistry at all. So I think the word genre is always going to be around, but the meaning of genre is not going to be the same.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying there too, and it kind of goes back to just it's going to continue to evolve. You know what I mean? It's going to continue to change, and that's the beauty of like music in general. There's different eras to it. You know what I mean? Like some people will be stuck in whatever era they're in. That's cool, but it's like always got to have people that keep pushing and keep it moving. So definitely love that. I'm curious for you, like as far as like maybe your songwriting goes, or if you're freestyling, like how do you approach when you hear like a beat or something? How are you writing to that? How are you crafting a song around that? Do you just go in the booth and kind of just put words in and see what comes out, or like how does that go for you?
So, a real musician, I should say, feel the beat, feel the music, feel the vibration of everything, and then what comes to your head is what you put on the beat.
Mm-hmm.
As far as writing, ain't nothing wrong with writing, because writing it puzzles your brain. Because let me tell you something, writing and freestyling is two different things. I already know you know that, but I'm gonna break it down for you. You could write something and you don't have a melody for it. So you could write, for instance, you could write A B C D, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you look back at the paper, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, A B C D. But the difference is with a freestyler and a writer is that if I say, even if I freestyle it and I still ended up writing it down, I already have a melody for it because I already freestyled.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, I'm gonna say either way, I'm gonna say like A B C D. You know,
Mm-hmm.
A B C D. That's a whole melody right there, and everything I just said rhyme.
Yeah.
A B C D. That's a whole melody.
Yeah, it's like the way you say it. It's not really like what is there. It's just how you say it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, I would say my writing process is I like to freestyle, and then what I don't like, because I do mix and mastering for myself. I really don't send my stuff to people, and you know, I do everything myself. So what I don't like, after I finish freestyling, what I don't like, I take it out, chop it up, take what I want out of it, delete what I don't want, write down what I think is gonna fit. Then I find a melody for that little space right there and to spit it back in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my process of doing music.
Yeah.
A lot of people write.
Yeah, I've never heard it put that way though, because that is true though. Like if you just see it on paper, you could read that and interpret that in any way. You know what I mean? Like your mind could go to the most basic way. You could read that as if you were reading like the passage of a book or something, or like a textbook. But then when you put it to music, you could even change meaning of that, or like the feel of it. You know what I mean? So it's like totally different feel and energy for it. So I think that's great. Like just the whole, and that's a more thought out like process of it too. Because I think sometimes when people like write songs and everything, they might not put that type of detail into or like think that way. You know what I mean? Like they just write random shit down and just see what comes out or whatever. It's like if you have that connection to it through the music, it might have more meaning coming across when you actually record it. You know what I mean? So that I think is very important. I just never heard it put that way, so that was incredible, honestly. So I appreciate you sharing
Yeah.
that. So I know you did your album called Iconic Time. So I'm curious to know, what was the process like behind that? Was that like your first actual album? Like, what was it like putting together like a full project and everything?
Iconic Time. Iconic Time is actually my second album. I have the Arrival. I have the Arrival EP, and I have a deluxe for the EP. I know that kind of sound weird, but it's a whole marketing thing, and it's weird. But then I have Iconic Time, which it got so much songs on there, I don't even need a deluxe version.
Mm-hmm.
Iconic Time was my second album, and my process of making Iconic Time was basically just me sitting down for a whole year, getting high. I'm not even gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? And just putting it all into the music. At one point, I wasn't even shaving, because when I'm working, bro, I don't focus on the bling and social media or none of that. I just basically just work.
Mm-hmm.
Just work.
Yeah.
Whenever I hop on social media, it's for me to like free my mind, get some inspo, and like, yeah, this person got this going on. Shit, I got that going on. Hey, this song sound good. This melody sound good. This melody sound like I could use it somewhere, type thing. So my process was basically just shut myself away and coming up with a lot of songs.
Yeah. I think that's honestly the best method to do it though, because I think a lot of people get lost in the whole social media thing where they're almost consumed by it to where it takes away from the music. You know what I mean? Like you want to make sure that the music itself is at a point where you're proud of it and you want to present it to people first, and then you can do whatever you want as far as like going in and showing people different sides of yourself and promoting and doing all that stuff, but it's almost like people skip that first step. Like the first step is the music. You know what I mean? Like if you're a music maker, you want to make great music. So the way to do that is to get in the right headspace, sit down, and really take your time with it and make something great. So I think that was perfect, honestly, the way that you could have done it. So
Yeah, I mean, I still have probably like 10 songs that I was gonna put on Iconic Time, but I was like, nah.
mm,
And I still have like five songs, 4 songs from the arrival that I didn't use. So it's like there's a lot of material. It takes a lot, bro. Cause then you're like you gotta think like, yo, I'm not really making music for me. I'm making music for everybody else to enjoy.
mm-hmm.
I can't just be here and be like, oh yeah, this fine. I could just put this out. Cause then you're building an image. You're building yourself. You're building a spot in the limelight for yourself. So at the same time, you don't want that spot to be a sloppy one.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to like, oh yeah, this goes with the timing.
Mm-hmm.
That goes with the timing. This don't. So I'm gonna put this over there and just wait until this time comes.
Yeah. It's really about balancing the quality and the quantity. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to just throw everything out there that you have, like even rough drafts. It's like, why would I want to put that out there? You know what I mean? You want to put out the best representation of yourself, as you have it and everything. So obviously that kind of leads me into my next question is kind of what can we expect from you this summer? Like, what do you have lined up? Singles, albums? Like, what is the next move for you, if you know it, of course?
Honestly, good question. I have a lot of songs coming this summer. I'm finna burn the summer up. It's already hot, but I'm finna burn it up for real. I thought about doing EP, but then I was like, nah, that's boring. Cause then it's summer.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna find that hot song and a hot video to take the summer.
Mm-hmm.
You don't wanna put out 5 songs and then because it's 5 songs and it's in that EP or in that little space, it's like, okay, well, which one of these songs I like? They're all fire, but which one I like? Yeah, I'm gonna listen to these 5 songs, but then people gonna listen to that and they gonna be like, oh yeah, all right, you know what? Keep those 5 songs right there. We know they hot, but we looking for that hot scene.
Mm.
Cause it's always that song that takes the summer. It's never those songs.
Yeah.
So I have a group of songs right now that I am looking into putting it out there in the summer, but then I'm really just posting them up right now on my social media just to see which one gets the best reaction.
Mm-hmm. That's probably the best method too. Kind of let the fans decide like which one do you like more. You know what I mean? And you just roll with that because they're the ones listening at the end of the day. Like you said earlier, you're not making it just for you. You're making it for them too. So, but yeah, I think that's great, man. I'm looking forward to that and the video as well. Whatever it is. So last few questions here. I ask these on every episode. So the first one is, if you could go back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself a piece of advice. Maybe not change anything at all. What do you think you would do?
If I would go back 10 years from now, what I would do is start earlier. I probably wouldn't do anything different, but just start doing music earlier.
Mm-hmm. You and
You
me
know,
both, because I always think that a lot. I do think that like maturity level is also like a thing that factors in, because it kind of depends on how young you are too. You're like, would I have taken it as seriously? I don't know, but it's always a good thought. You know what I mean? You're like, I would be so far ahead if I started like at this time instead. But yeah. So if we flip it then and we say 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself in your life and your career?
well, 10 years from now, I would envision myself owning my label, which is already started, by the way. My label is Iconic Time for anybody out there that want to be signed to an artist or to a label. Iconic Time.
Nice, man.
Iconic Time, the label.
Nice, man. So do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Well, for the listeners out there, and I would say whatever it is that you're chasing or whatever it is that you're doing, don't stop. Do never stop, because then if you do stop, that means you gave up. If you don't stop, that means it just hasn't happened yet, but it's still in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely, man.
that's
Yeah. Love that, man. And man, Sashi, that's all I have for you today. I really appreciate, the time and everything. Thanks you once again for reaching back out and even reminding me about this, because I feel bad about it. But I'm glad, to get this going. I'm glad it happened, and I'm wishing you all the best of luck on, your career. And this summer, I'm looking forward to hearing your music and everything. And keep it up, man. Keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being on here with you, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I enjoy the interaction. I enjoy the questions, and stuff like that. So anytime, bro. Even if it's just us chopping it up on a podcast, anytime.
Thanks, guys, for listening today. That was episode 99. So here's the deal about the 100th episode next week. Originally, I was going to have some type of special guest. I had a couple people in mind, reached out to those people, did not hear back from those people, but I have had sort of some time to think the last few weeks about what I wanted to do, and I've decided to make the 100th episode just me, and I'm going to kind of make it a celebration of this podcast type of episode. I'm going to be going through some of the stories about how this podcast came to be, maybe some of my favorite moments from the podcast, different guests and things like that. And I also want to take the time to announce the sponsor for this summer and also the giveaway and everything, and kind of just put that all into one episode, kind of like a big thank you to all of you guys, all the listeners and all the past guests, because I feel like that would be something cool to do as opposed to just having a guest anyway. Like, I feel like the guests have been great and everything, and we're going to continue that, but I think for the 100th episode, I just want to try something different and see, if you guys enjoy it or whatever, and maybe eventually do something like that again. But I figure, you gotta do it big for the 100th, and like I said, some cool announcements in there, a couple different giveaways planned, which I will be announcing, and I'm looking forward to it. But until next week, thank you guys once again for listening today, and we will see you then.